Trust No One. It's our review of Sharper.
There's so much that I want to say that I'm not going to say.
Sure.
And I feel like the trailer gives away way too much.
Didn't see it, but I could see where that would be a problem.
All that work for $1,000. If you're going to steal a lot.
Yeah, I saw this a couple weeks ago for radio. And then I went back and found the trailer for our purposes here. And I'm like, dude, all the stuff that's interesting about this movie, like you're giving it away. So I would like to be as vague as possible for your benefit. You out there watching, it's been in theaters for like a week and now it's streaming on Apple TV Plus. So it is, gosh, where do I even begin? I should have thought about this before we started.
We're told at the beginning that Sharper is a noun that refers to people who live by their wits.
Right. Which, sure, I don't believe that. But I guess I'm trying to put you on edge to suggest that, like, as you say, trust no one.
Right.
It begins with Justice Smith and Briana Middleton meeting cute in New York at this kind of vintage book shop. And they hit it off and fall in love. And she tells him that her brother is troubled and she needs some money. And he says, I can help you. And that might not be what it seems. And from there, it's like this Russian nesting doll structure where like it then follows Briana Middleton's character, and it then follows Sebastian Stan's character, and it then follows Julianne Moore's character. And you learn a little bit more about each person based on, and then that next chapter provides perspective on what you just saw.
Right.
So no one is what they seem to be, but I dug it the whole way through. And maybe as you go along, it gets a little predictable. Like once you know, you can sort of feel with the beats that like the next chapter is coming and like, oh, clearly we're going to follow this person next. But the writing is so sharp, if I may, and it's so twisty and directed with so much verve and style. And everyone is just like sinking their teeth into this. Yeah. And, I want to look up who the cinematographer is because I love the way this film is shot. It is luscious. It is like film noir. Charlotte Bruce Christensen shot this. It is the feature filmmaking debut of Benjamin Caron, who has done a ton of television, including Andor and The Crown. And it's just like, it feels substantive. It feels like the kind of movie that they don't really make very much anymore, like a 80s, 90s kind of twisty con thriller. And everyone's really good in it. Like, I feel like Julianne Moore doesn't get to do stuff that is this light and playful very often. So it's a joy to see her in this. I like Sebastian Stan embracing like the dangerous bad guy nature of how hot he is.
Yes.
You know, that's kind of fun. Briana Middleton is great. She's kind of a newcomer, hasn't done a whole lot, but she's really, really good and has to keep us guessing. There are variables as to who she is in different situations that are enjoyable. So without saying a whole lot, I want you guys to know that I like this a lot and it's a good, fun watch.
There's a lot that I like about it. This is a personal taste. When a movie makes it clear to me that that people are lying, that sort of, I kind of put a wall up. Oh. Because once I know that that is where we're going, I stop trusting anything that anyone says or does. And part of me is just like, I'll meet you at the end and we'll see what actually was true and what wasn't. And so because it tips its hand early on as to what kind of story it's telling, once I knew that, I found myself less engaged because I knew that anything that was being presented to me as a fact might not be, you know, and so, you know, for me, a movie like this tends to work more if within that structure, other surprises can happen. And there are some. And so I will definitely give it points for that. And I agree with you on like on a purely like craft level. I do love the sheen of this movie. It is it's a very cool looking New York movie and the performances are great. I always like Justice Smith. I think he's really underrated. But yeah, the whole ensemble, John Lithgow, everybody's terrific. But there's a thing with me where once I understand what a movie's tell is, I'm just sort of waiting for I'm not gonna be shocked at every corner because I know that it wants me to be, and I'm not playing that. So yeah,
you love Poker Face, where the whole point is that people are lying, and Natasha Lyonne says bullshit to them.
Exactly. But that's the setup. That is the entire structure, but in a movie like, say, Missing, where, along the way you are led to understand that certain things are true and then find out that they aren't. But in that context, it is a surprise to find out that they aren't, or that you make assumptions based on something that winds up being not true. This one, I think, is sort of announces early what's up. And so I'm just sort of like, okay, I guess that's what's up then. And so that takes me out of it a bit. Nonetheless, if you like this kind of sort of sleek caper, it offers enjoyment.
Part of the fun of it, though, I think, is that, yes, we know they're lying, but how far can they push it? And how will they get caught? There's some tension in that. There's some mystery in that. Like, how long can the con go on? Sure.
Once con has been dropped in, I'm like...
Really? That is surprising to me.
Just because because I know that if it's a movie that is about people playing other people for suckers, I don't want to be one of those people.
The Ocean's movies.
Again, though, that's a movie like The Sting. I mean, these are movies where you're following people who are committing a heist, who are committing a crime. And what they're up to most of the time. There will be some surprises along the way. But in a movie like this, and it's hard to talk about without giving things away, but I just take nothing for granted at that point. And so then I become, that puts me in a different kind of way of watching a film, which is entertaining, but I don't get lost in it.
You can't give yourself over to it because you're skeptical the whole time.
Exactly.
Okay. I had a really good time. The costume design, everything Julianne Moore wears is like perfect camel coats, and everything is like cream and neutral.
It's very Thoreau. Like, it doesn't look like anything fabulous, but it costs $25,000.
She's got a Birkin bag. I mean, like, her apartment is spectacular. But anyway, so I had a really good time. And again, we're trying to dance around this. Let us know. I mean, I liked it. I'm giving it 7.8. I'll give it an 8. I'll say 8.
Okay, I said 6.5. I'm glad I saw it. There was some fun for me, but again, it's just like it's a movie that puts me on my guard.
All right, let us know if you guys watch it. It is on Apple TV Plus.